Hello kids, welcome to this class. In our last class, we discussed about stitches and we also look at types of stitches. And we said we have two types of stitches, temporary stitches and permanent stitches. Last class, we looked at temporary stitches, but today we are going to look at permanent stitches. We are going to look at examples of permanent stitches, how to use the example, and identifying them. So, at the end of this class, you should be able to define permanent stitches. You should be able to list out types of permanent stitches. And should be also to explain how to use each one of these samples and be able to identify them. Now, let's start the class. What is permanent stitching? Permanent stitches are used in joining two or more clothes together. We can use it to knitting rod edge and for decoration. In permanent stitches, stitches are not removed, unlike the temporary stitches where we said we only use it for a short period of time. So you can see the difference between the two. Temporary stitches are only used for a short period of time, while permanent stitches, we don't remove them. Ensure that the thread used match the material in terms of textures and color. What are we saying here? If you are using blue material, make sure that the thread that you are going to use must also be blue. Now, let's look at the examples of permanent stitching. They are as follows. 1. Running stitches. 2. Back stitches. 3. Hemming stitches. 4. Over sewing stitches. Let's pick them one by one and make sure you listen attentively. I hope you still have your pen and your notebook with you. Don't forget to jot down some important points that is going to aid in your learning. Now let's go. Running stitches. Running stitches is the most basic stitches. It is the goal to stitch for the beginner. It is the one that is easy for every beginner to start with. You just need to sew two pieces of fabric to one another. That is, get a fabric, thread your needle, and just join them together, as you can see from the diagram there. This is done with one small stitches at a time, from left to right. All stitches are of the same size on both sides of the material. It is possible to use when repairing holes. That is, you have an hose or you have to patch up your clothes. It is easy for you to use running stitches. All you need is to thread your needle, not the thread, and that is why it is called running of the needle through the fabric. All you need to do once you start is that you keep repeating the same pattern to the end. back stitches. Back stitches are strong stitch used in the beginning and the ending of other sewing stitches. It is also another very basic stitches that you can use on your everyday basis. This stitch has been used for centuries as decoration. What I mean is that they have been using it for a very long time and they use it to make decoration. All you need to penetrate the back of fabric with a needle. Now, for you to make these back stitches, listen attentively. 1. Take one long running stitch. 2. Take the threaded needle a stitch back, then bring it in front of the stitch already done. 3. Put the needle at the end of the last stitch and repeat to desired length. Hemming stitches. This can be called knitting stitch. It is used to hold garments in and turning of garments. It is also used at the edge of materials to hold down a fold. It is made in the following ways. That is to say, you want to make use of hemming stitches, follow the steps. 1. Work from the wrong side of the garments. 2. Base hem in position and press. 3. From right to left, securing the thread. 4. Make slanty hem stitches. Finally, to end hemming stitches, work backwards with 2 stitches on both sizes. We have 2 types of hemming stitches. They are loop hemming and slip hemming. Let's look at them. Now note, base means to sew with wide stitches. Take note of that. It means to sew with wide stitches. Now let's look at the types of hemming stitch. Slip hemming. This hemming shows little on the right side of the material. It is that hemming stitches are the lower part of skirts, dresses, and sleeves. When you put on your skirts, you will see it at the lower down part of it, your dresses or your sleeves. It is work from right to left. The following ways are the procedures to make slip hemming. 1. At the right side of the garment, take the hem in position. 2. Slip the needle through the floor. 3. Insert the needle into the material opposite, picking up the threads. 4. Return the needle to the first position in the fold and slip it through the fold from right to left. 5. Repeat the procedure to the desired length. Loop hemming. Loop hemming approach is very different from ordinary hand sewing. In the simplest hand stitch, a length of the thread is tied to a small eye at the end of the needle. The sewer, that is the person who sews, passes the needle and attach thread all the way through two pieces of fabric from one side to the other and back again. Oversewing stitches. These are fine, strong stitches for joining piece of materials on the sleeve edge or on the fold. It can also be used for knitting or raw edges of materials. It is worked from the right to the left with the needle straight. Uses of permanent stitches. Permanent stitches can be used in three ways. 1. They are used for joining pieces of clothes together. Example, running stitches, back stitches. So when we are talking of joining piece of clothes together, we are talking of running stitches and back stitches as an example. 2. They are also used to knitting raw edge, where we have hemming and loop or blanket stitches. The third one, they can be used as a decorative stitches. Now, let's go back a bit to temporary stitches. In temporary stitches, we also mentioned three uses of temporary stitches. We said they are used for joining pieces of clothes together. We said they can be used for decorative stitches. And also, they can be used to mend clothes. Now, in permanent stitches, we have joining of pieces of clothes together, we have decorative stitches, and we have knitting raw edges. So please, don't let us mix these two together. And also, take note of the examples in temporary stitches. We say we have even tacking, long and short tacking, we have diagonal tacking and tailor's tacking. Examples of permanent stitches are running stitches, back stitches, hemming stitches, and oversewing stitches. Please take note of them. Don't mix them together. Next class, we will look at decorative stitching in full. We look at examples of decorative stitches and how to make use of this example in our next class. Like I said, like in the last class, practice makes perfect. Get your sewing tools ready and let's have fun by making use of what you learned in stitches. Don't forget to attempt all the practical work. Love you all. See you in next class. Bye.